This week, we're going to the mainland, not the USA. We're going to mainland China. That's right. And what do they make in China? Besides Chinese stuff. In photography, we have a group called 7artisans. This week we're looking at a 35mm 1.2. 1.2, that's pretty fast for, look how small that is. It's a little tiny, isn't that cute? Oh yeah, little tiny pancake type lens. So, is it any good though? Is it any good? It is, yeah, it's pretty good. So, let's find out together how good it is. Grab yourselves something to eat or drink, get yourself comfortable, and
You just ate the most acid I've ever seen anybody eat in my life.
let's get it on.
Here I am, Vietnam. Rain is always coming down.
This is Camera Talk with Dr. Scott and Dylan. That's right. Dylan and I am back for another week at Camera Talk. And what are we talking about this week, buddy? Well, just as the intro said, we're looking at another economical lens, because at Modesty Photography, it's all about, talking about vintage lenses and economical stuff, and hey, what's modesty all about, right? So this week we're looking at a Chinese lens. That's right, Chinese lens.
Ancient Chinese secret.
Is that any comparison to a Japanese lens? Or a German lens? Or a Korean lens? Or a British lens? Or a French lens? Who cares? We don't have any of those anyway. But what we are going to talk about this week is 7 artisans. It's a 35mm 1.2. That's right, 1.2, buddy. Most of us vintage lens users and manual lens users out there think 1.4 is pretty fast. 1.2. 1.2. And look at the size. Hang on, before I launch this thing off into oblivion. Yeah, get that off there. Look at the size of that. Look at the size of that. It's tiny. It's almost pancake. Isn't that cute?
That's what she said.
Yeah. So but that's a 1.2, 35mm 1.2. Now, of course, it's also designed for APS-C sensors. So that'll make a difference, right? Even though it's a 35mm, but on this little APS-C sensor here, it is, now of course this is a Canon, gotta add that in there too. It's a Canon M50, so it's EOS M mount, and on an APS-C sensor, a 35 millimeter has to have a crop factor added into the equation to figure out what its full frame equivalent would be. Now, 7artisans makes this thing for Canon, Fuji, and Sony, and their APS-C lines. And for Canon, this particular one, even though they make other APS-C models out there, 7artisans makes this for their M class, and it's not M like as in like a M, very different.
No shit, Sherlock!
But this M is EOS M, and they make it quite a wide range of lens mounts for this particular line, which there's a bunch of them out there. And they're being discontinued just like everything else in life when they figure out they can make more money off of making you switch systems to something else, then that's what they do.
What? No.
But anyway, for those who have an EOS M camera, there's plenty of options out there for you. And 7artisans is just one of them. Now back to what I was talking about with the crop factor. With the EOS M lineup is different from Sony and Fuji because its crop factor is 1.6 times. So 35mm on an APS-C Canon sensor multiplied by 1.6 gives you a 56 millimeter equivalent. So it says 35 all over it, but it's not 35. It's 56. That's what it looks like with the rendition. Now, if you have a Fuji or a Sony, their crop factor is only 1.5. It's just that 0.1 bit of difference because Canon wants to be special.
Well, isn't that special?
So on a Sony and Fuji, your full frame equivalent is 52.5 millimeter. So again, it's not 35. So anyway, just want to get that out of the way, clarify what the differences are, because people like Dylan may not know something like that, but now you do, and now he does. Not that I remember anything other than just hearing me in the background going blah, 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 kind of like a Charlie Brown cartoon, yeah?
Don't care.
So, well, what can we say about this thing? You know, it's, again, made in China. I know there's a lot of people out there go, oh, made in China. Now, China, you know, has always had a reputation of building cheap crap. And they still do, you know, don't get me wrong. There's still plenty of cheap crap out there. And even 7artisans has some glass that's not exactly living up to its better side of the reputation. You know, like the 25 millimeter, for example. I got one of those. We'll talk about that in another episode.
Holy crap.
But this one's kind of cool for a number of different reasons, and we'll get through those in a little bit. But if you want to think about artsy and character and stuff like that,
I don't like the artsy fartsy thing. I think I hate it.
that's where this baby kind of shines. So, what else can we say, mister? Well, this show's not made for kids, is it? No. So, that I feel a cough coming on. And Corona's not a sponsor of this video, by the way. So, what do we talk about with this lens? You know, get the specs out of the way right off the bat. 6 elements in 5 groups. I know you're looking back there like, hey, give me a swig of that. He likes beer. We only give him one sip every now and then. Don't want to turn you into a raging alcoholic before you even become a teenager. So some of the specs on this to get them out of the way: 6 elements in 5 groups. Close focus. It's a 35 millimeter. Its close focus is 35 centimeters. Now, for those living in the imperial system world where centimeters and millimeters may be a foreign language to you, metric system is pretty easy, actually. It's just moving the decimal point over. So, you know, again, there's 10 millimeters for every centimeter. So 35 centimeters is really 350 millimeters, if that helps you at all. So anyway, that's the close focus. Its aperture blades, number of blades is 9. And its weight is 150 grams. So yeah, you know, if you're, you know, metrically challenged, go look that stuff up and you'll figure out what it is. Anyway, speaking of 9 aperture blades, that reminds me that the one I have is the Model 1, version 1. That's right, the versions.
You must tie her down on a bed and spank her.
There's a version 2 out there. That's just a few years old now, but it's actually an upgrade. It's better optically. They've improved it, so it's not quite as soft wide open as this one would be. But it has 11 aperture blades versus this one has 9. And the other difference is the aperture is clicked. 7artisans typically makes their lenses with a declicked aperture, which some people like, some people don't like. Videographers like it because they can switch apertures without the click, click, click and picking it up on the microphone, or adding vibration to the recording. I kind of like it too because you know when you have a clicked aperture ring, you click from 1.2 to 1.4 to 2. There's a kick and you're set into that particular aperture. Now when it's declicked, you can manually manipulate it open and close, so you can get 1.25, 1.275, 1.425, you know, you can manipulate it any way you want because it's not being stopped by that little ball bearing in the barrel. So anyway, so I kind of like declicked myself. Some people like it, some people don't.
Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Potatoes, you know. So anyway, those are the specs on this little guy. And version 2, the other thing too, if you have the opportunity to get it, you know, you may lose some of the character because it is optically better and whatnot, but it depends what you're after with your photography. But they're the same price. Version 1, version 2, $145. $145. That's pretty economical, isn't it? It's a little bit pricier than the Canon's Plastic Fantastic 50mm 1.8, but it's all metal. Lasts you a heck of a lot longer than that Canon product would, which is all plastic. So anyhow, some of the characteristics with this guy. So it is pretty soft, wide open, and even, you know, moving up all the way till f4 before it finally starts to really sharpen up. But it's not that bad. I mean, if you're like me and you shoot mostly portraits anyway of this guy, then the softness is not going to be a game stopper or show stopper. So anyway, or game changer, I guess the term should be. But you know, if it's no big deal for you, then that's okay. And when I say soft, I'm not saying like it's a big, like you got Vaseline creamed across the screen or anything and you can't see, but ew! It's just not razor sharp, you know. But at 4.0, 5.6, like that, you'll find the sharpness is pretty sharp. So if you're a landscape shooter, then obviously you're just gonna have to stop down to that and get yourself some nice landscape shots. Some of the other problems with it, though, because of its size and everything, trying to pack a big punch into such a small package, is it does tend to vignette. And with that too, sometimes the vignette itself will have a ring, you know, around the edge of the picture that shifts the color. What the fuck? And that could be a little funky. It's hard to fix that in your you know, photo editing software, but it doesn't show up all the time, so it depends on the situation. Has some minor distortion, and it's pretty minor. I mean, you don't really have to correct for it, which you can again in post editing, but it's there. You know, some minor barrel distortion. I'll show you that here. But what else? What else? Well, I think that's pretty much it for the pros and cons. Actually, that was just the cons, wasn't it? Now again, that softness too depends how close you get. If you get close, like you're trying to get that 35 centimeter, yeah, you're gonna get pretty soft. If you back yourself up a few feet, here I'm jumping from metric to imperial, back and forth. What the hell are you talking about, Daddy? Then you'll notice that softness for sure. But other than that, it's got nice bokeh, of course, with the 1.2. It's some nice bokeh in the background, and again, character. It's got some pretty cool characteristics when you'll see, you know, in the sample shots and whatnot. It can. Well, I was going to say no. It cannot. I was going to say it can, but it cannot. Well, flaring. You know, just about every lens can flare under the right circumstances, and this is no different. You know, the sun's off, you know, off to one side or the other. You know, fall off, mister. I can see injuring you, and you're going to be telling Mommy, Mommy, Dad pushed me off the chair, and then she's going to yell at me. You know, it's kind of like that scene from the that Kung Fu movie where she's the Kung Fu mama.
Fat woman, my ass!
Yeah. So, you don't want that from Mommy now, do you? Oh, Daddy doesn't want it. Yeah, you won't get it. You get smacked for many other things, but sucker. But anyway, what was I getting at? Flaring. All right.
Deal with it. Okay, and you're welcome.
So the flaring's not terrible. I mean, it can happen just like any other, any other lens. But again, it could be artistic.
I'm a fucking artist. I'm sensitive as shit.
In that regard, it has no chromatic aberration, which is kind of nice in bright light situations. Not that I've seen anyway. So it's kind of nice. And even with the flaring, back to that. Even with the flaring, your contrast is still maintained, as well as the color saturation and whatnot, which is kind of cool because in many other lenses out there, when they flare or a bright situation happens, your contrast goes all to hell. Well, this one maintains it. Pretty good, so nice. So it does have nice bokeh and good quality micro contrast. You know what micro contrast is? Huh? Do you know it? Now, I'll tell you. Micro contrast is the details in the shadow. So this has pretty decent shadow detail in that regard. So anyway, I think that's pretty much all I could tell you about this lens. You know, 145 bucks, can't go wrong. It's all metal. It'll outlast you and me, probably even him, right? It'll outlast Dylan, will it? So 145 bucks. Can we recommend it? Yeah?
Yes!
Just to show you what it looks like from where I'm sitting, about just shy of 2 meters from from my Sony A7R II, which is recording this video. Yeah, let me get you a shot. Yeah, let's turn this around. Excuse me. I've had that cough for like a month already, if not more. All right, so let me try to. Now, am I wide open? Yes, I am. I was saying, well, that looks pretty sharp from here. All right, so let's get a shot. 1, 2, 3. And let's get one at 5.6 just to see how we do. Hang on, let me. Oops. All right, are we focused in on that, buddy? Right there. Yeah, all right, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that was at 1.2 and 5.6. Turn that off. One thing that sucks about it is, well, it really sucks or not, but it's not the best cap in the world. It's a metal cap, which is nice of them to make it metal, but it's basically, it just slips on there, which means they can slip off as well. So it's not, like my 35 Sumalux, that cap is not coming off unless you wedge it off of there. The my Lumix over there has a squeeze or a pinch cap on it, so again, it's not going to fall out by itself. This thing, if you hit it at the right angle, boop, it'll just pop right on off there. Now, if you're on a sidewalk or somewhere, you may hear it because it's metal, like ding, 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 ding. It'll rattle around and you'll hear it. But if not, if you're on the beach or off in the forest or somewhere and it just falls, you won't hear anything, and that'll be the end of your cap. Say goodbye. All right, so how about we show you some pictures of this guy? Want to see some pictures of Dylan? Yeah, all right. So here's Dylan at f1.2. So what do you think? Are those good? Are you a handsome man? Are you a handsome man? Hey, I'm talking to you. He's staring off into space. What are you, hungry or something, or sleepy? What time is it anyway? Oh, it's only 7:45 at night. Oh, come on, you still got lots of life left in you. All right, how about another one of Dylan, huh? This is Dylan at, look at the camera, Dylan at 5.6. Yeah, 5.6. How about random crap? We always have to show you some stuff other than Dylan. That's right, there are other things out there other than you, mister, that we could take pictures of using this lens. So here's some random stuff. Actually, I found a guy who took some pretty cool pictures with this, so I borrowed some pictures from him. Name's Griffin. So thank you, Mr. Griffin. And here's some pictures, random stuff at F, whatever. What do you think about those? Did they look good? Yeah? So, all right, so those are pictures of Dylan. Those are pictures of the random stuff taken with this 35 millimeter. So other than that, I think that's all pretty much we could talk about with about this lens. So, what do you say we give our little plug for our photo editing software that we use, right? And who do we use? We use Luminar, Luminar AI, Luminar Neo. Now, what does AI stand for, mister? What does AI stand for? Do you know? No. Come on, guess. Guess for me. What does AI stand for? What does AI mean? Are you going to tell me? 1, 2, 3. No, it's not that. You silly goose. Huh? That's right. Not that. It's artificial intelligence. So yes, Luminar Neo was created out of a combination of Luminar 4 and Luminar AI. So Luminar Neo has a boatload of AI features built into it. You know, it has spot dust removal. It has power line removal. It has background removal. It has portrait AI. I gotta grab my arm. It has scene relighting, meaning you can move the lighting around the scene. Kind of weird, isn't it? But it can do it. And various other stuff. You know, I'm gonna go through the whole menu of what they can do. I'm done with that, mister. So, so I'd recommend that you consider getting yourself a copy of Luminar. And it's very economical. It's another boon to using the software. It's cheaper than Lightroom and Capture One and some of the others that are out there. And they are, well, the company who produces is named Skylum, and they're in Ukraine. And we know what's going on in Ukraine right now, don't we? Boo, Mr. Putin. So, if you buy a copy, you're supporting them and their cause because they're still working away, developing. We just got an update just yesterday to the software, and the updates are all free and everything, so that's great. Once you buy it, it's yours for life. So anyhow, and you could save $10. You know, it's already economical. But you want to save $10? There's a link in the description below. If you click on that link, it'll take you to their website, but through our link, you'll save $10. And what do they do with that $10? Huh? What does Skylum do with that $10? Well, they give it to us because we put the effort in to convince you to get a copy. And what do they call that? They call that Kickback. Yeah, kickback. And what are you going to do with your $10, mister? Are you going to save it?
No.
No? You're just going to spend it all? Well, you have to save it first because $10 is not going to do much for you. But if you spend it, you can get $1 million.
$1 million.
That's right, $1 million, mister. Huh? $1 million. So yeah, so get yourself a copy. What else can we say? How about we get everybody to support our website? Website. Support our YouTube channel. And how do we get them to support? Subscribe. How about this hand? Subscribe. And 2 hands, 2 fingers, 4 fingers, 2 or 4, 2. So your 2, my 2 is 4, that's 8. Subscribe. That's right. What does YouTube like besides subscribers? They like the thumbs up? Yeah, they like the thumbs up. Do you like the thumbs up?
No.
You don't like the thumbs up? Yes, you do. You like the thumbs up because it reminds you of the thumbs up girls. That's right. And we could give them a little sample of that before they come on. Thumbs up. Do 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 do. Thumbs up. Yeah. Aren't they cute, huh? Yeah, thumbs up. You know what you do with your thumbs up.
That's how you use it.
So, that's that. What else can we say? Well, we already said who we were, Modesty Photography, right? But why should people come back here? Why do you think people should come back? Is it to see Dylan? Let me see more of Dylan. Huh? See more of Dylan all the time. Yeah? Well, it's because you belong here. That's right. And where do they belong, mister? What's the name of this show? This was Camera Talk with Dr. Scott and Dylan. That's right, and Dylan, the squirmy one. So that's pretty much all we've got for you this week. We do one of these videos every Friday each week. So come on back next week and we can do this all again with a whole different lens or a different camera or a different tip or trick or anything. I don't say see you yet, it's not time. But we can say thank you. Thank you for watching and listening. Thank you for subscribing and the thumbs up. Thank you for buying a copy of Luminar, if you haven't already. Thank you for putting up with Dylan and his craziness, or maybe it's Daddy's craziness, and maybe his wild rambling and everything else. But
Like big butts and I cannot lie.
well, mostly, why should we thank them the most? Thank you for just being you. That's right. So yeah, come on back next week. We'll do it all again. And remember, it's Friday, Vietnam time. So wherever you are in the world, that could be the same day, or it could be the day before or the day after. Kind of some funky mathematics in time, isn't it? But yeah, check it out. Well, if you subscribe with the notification, it'll let you know when we have a new one every Friday, right? Yeah. All right, so that's all we've got for you. What else do we got to say? Is that it? Yeah? Okay. Well, we'll see you next week then. All right. Bye-bye.
Here I am.